The Case of the Incapacitated Capitals, read by Ms.NicoleReads. The Case of the Incapacitated Capitals. Can you find the title? Are you able to identify the author and the illustrator? It was the first Tuesday in May, a beautiful spring day. But in Mr. Wright's classroom, the capital letters were in sad shape. The capital letters whimpered and moaned. "What's the matter with you?" the small letters worried. "Why aren't you doing your jobs?" "We want to take the lead in spelling out proper names of people, places, and things, and days of the week, special days, and holidays, and months of the year. Normally, it's our pleasure to make sure sentences get off to a good start, and we're always happy to band together if a word needs special attention, such as exit, or stop, or danger. We take our tasks seriously, but lately, the kids have forgotten about us, and now we're goners, out of oof, zapped, incapacitated. Meanwhile, for Mr. Wright's students, school began as usual. But as morning moved toward noon, Mr. Wright looked more and more miserable. "Mr. Wright looks as bad as our uppercase friends." "Mr. Wright, what's wrong?" asked Sam. Mr. Wright sighed. "Do you realize what day this is?" "It's Tuesday," said Kate. "What else?" asked Mr. Wright. "Pizza day in the cafeteria," said Ting. Mr. Wright groaned. "You forgot. Teacher Appreciation Day. It's always the first Tuesday in May." "Let me remind you, if I may, that without me, May wouldn't be a month." The kids felt bad. They decided to write a letter to the principal, Miss Allcap. "Don't peek, Mr. Wright," said Bud. "It's a surprise." When the kids were finished, they showed Mr. Wright what they'd written. This should cheer you up. May 4th, Miss Allcap, Principal, Learn-A-Lot Elementary School, 37 Forget-Me-Not Lane, Capital City, Wisconsin, 53305. Dear Miss Allcap, it's Teacher Appreciation Day. We think you should give Mr. Wright this Friday off from school to show how much we appreciate him. Sincerely, Mr. Wright's class. Horrors! Nothing in this letter is capitalized as it should be. The principal will be appalled. How embarrassing! If only we had the strength to fix it. We'll call for help, but who should we say needs assistance? Capital letters or uppercase letters?" asked the small letters. "It doesn't matter. They're the same thing," said the capitals. The small letters sent out an SOS. Save our sentences. Capital letters, aka uppercase, incapacitated. Mr. Wright smiled wanly. "I appreciate the thought," he said, "but writing a letter is not the same as texting. You've forgotten something important." The kids looked around. "Whoops! We forgot to water the plants." "I'm talking about your letter," said Mr. Wright. "For instance, my name. What's wrong with it?" The kids were stumped. "Nothing, Mr. Wright," said Carlos. "Your name fits you because you're usually right." "Is usually your first name?" asked Kate. Bud said, "If it is, you probably wish you had a nickname like me." "My name is not usually," said Mr. Wright, "and I don't need a nickname. My mother already gave me one when I was little. The initials are C.B. But that's all I'm telling." Now the kids were dying to know. "Crybaby?" asked Sam. "Cutie boy?" guessed Ting. "Forget about my nickname," said Mr. Wright. "I meant what's wrong with the way you wrote my name in that note." "The principal's name, too." Carlos spoke up. We forgot to capitalize it. Right, said Mr. Wright. Now, what about the sentences in this letter? How should they begin? The first one starts with I, said Kate, and the other starts with W. We got that right. Grrr, growled Mr. Wright. The first letter of a sentence should be capitalized. You also need to capitalize the day, month, school, street, city, and state. And don't forget to capitalize Teacher Appreciation Day because it's a holiday. A holiday? Gasped the kids. How come we have school? We could appreciate you even more from home. This is not a day off from school holiday, said Mr. Wright. It's a special day, like Valentine's Day, or Pajama Day, or Drop Everything and Read Day, or National Punctuation Day. Remember when the cafeteria served meatloaf shaped like us? Are we supposed to wear teacher clothes today, or drop everything and appreciate you? Asked Rose. You're supposed to be extra nice to me, said Mr. Wright. You can start by capitalizing my name. That's when the kids discovered that the uppercase letters were in an alarming condition. I'm failing fast. Zzz. I'm collapsing. I seem to be sagging. I can't jump at all. The rescuers should be here by now. When the kids tried to capitalize, the uppercase letters stumbled and staggered into all the wrong places. An emergency team careened into the classroom. The medics quickly diagnosed the problem. It's a case of serious neglect. Phew. Some uppercase letters need CPPR, Capital Position and Posture Repair. Many required extra support. The medics injected them all with fresh, fortified ink. Much better, thank you. Listen up, kids, said the medic. You know how muscles get flabby when you don't exercise? Same for uppercase letters. Use them or lose them. Later, with uppercase assistance, the kids revised their letter to the principal. Mr. Wright, said Bud, if we capitalize perfectly, will you please tell us your nickname? Okay, said Mr. Wright, but I bet I won't have to. May 4th, Miss Allcap, Principal. Learn a Lot Elementary School, 37, Forget Me Not Lane, Capital City, Wisconsin, 53305. Dear Miss Allcap, it's Teacher Appreciation Day. We think you should give Mr. Wright this Friday off from school to show how much we appreciate him. Sincerely, Mr. Wright's class. P.S. We could take Friday off too. Then you won't have to get a substitute. Mr. Wright studied the letter, searching for a mistake. But the kids got it all right. Even the greeting and the closing. You win. He gulped. My mother called me, Mom still calls me Cuddly Bunny. Finally, the kids stopped laughing. Mr. Wright, said Bud, we appreciate you so much. Tomorrow has to be Give Your Teacher a Better Nickname Day. The end. Mom loves Cuddly Bunny. How capital letters got their other name. Capital letters haven't always been known as uppercase. In the days before computers and even typewriters, books and newspapers and magazines were printed using hand-operated machines called printing presses. Back then, every single capital letter and every small letter was carved on its own little wood block. The printer set each letter of every word and sentence into long, narrow trays. Then he rolled ink over the letters and printed them onto paper. All the letters were stored in large open cases. Capital letters and small letters were kept in separate cases so they wouldn't get mixed up, and so the printer could quickly find the letter he needed. And guess what? The case of capital letters was always above the case of small letters, so the printers called the capital letters uppercase and small letters lowercase.